Happy Friday. Thanks for joining us. Anu and Igor at Vinousreverie Wine Merchant. This is our show for the adventurous wine drinker. Merry Christmas. We're
Merry
here
Christmas.
like clockwork.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Cool. So we're doing something a little bit different. I mean, I'm drinking a wine, but
Yes.
we're doing top 10 lists, right?
Yes.
So-
Yes. I think everybody's been waiting for this one. They've seen
Okay.
all the other irrelevant lists, but so they're waiting for this one too.
Oh, yeah. Nobody else's list matters, just ours.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
All right. So
You want to talk about our wines, or are you going to talk about top 10 lists in general?
we'll do both. I think it's fun to do both of them. So this of the year, time of the year, a lot of the wine critics they list their top 100 wines for the most part, but there's some variations. So we'll talk about them and we'll do our list. So since we started doing this show in March. We've tasted over 60 wines on this show. So the concept is that what are the top 10 wines that we've tasted? So
just on the tastings, not club wine. We've got all sorts
not
of
the
other
wines
stuff.
in the store. We've tasted some great wines in the stores, but it wasn't on the show. So this is strictly for the show. And in fact, a lot of the wine lists kind of work in a similar manner. Not all the publication taste the same wines throughout the year.
Right.
Some of them don't. Some publications taste particular wines because either the producer or the importer want to send a particular wines to a publication that's typically favorable to them. And then some publications taste different vintages. Some might be tasting like a 17 vintage of one wine, and others might be tasting 18 vintage of one wine.
And they can be totally different wines, right?
Yeah,
Based on vintage,
and conceptually they're also different. So let me toss in, maybe we'll start with James Suckling. I kind of give you my 2 cents on James Suckling's list. So he kind of makes theoretically the list that should be of you put in quotes the best wines of the year. He
why theoretically?
Because what he does is he basically he creates a list of top 100 wines that he's tasted, and they're basically 100-point wines, 99-point wines, 98-point wines.
Literally like his favorite.
His favorite wines for the year. So it's basically wines that are spectacular, and then just about nobody tastes because they're way too expensive.
Oh, they're out of market range.
Exactly.
Okay. So that's kind of not fun.
Well, so that's what I'm saying. Theoretically, it makes sense because he picks the best.
Very exclusive list there.
Yeah, I mean, in his opinion, what's the best?
Right.
And then he does like a little breakdown. He does these are my top 100 from Argentina, from Germany, from U.S., from Spain, from Italy, etc. So he breaks it down. So his top 100 list becomes like top 1,000 list. When he starts breaking it down by country. So that's his concept. Only one shout out I actually have to show. On his top 100 wines from Spain list, he listed Comendo G's La Bruja 2018.
Which we have, right?
And which we've spoken at least 3 or 4 times on this show as the #1 wine of the year. So James Suckling finally jumped on the Vinousreverie bandwagon, and we're glad that that he's doing that. To do a little bit of a sidetrack, or I would like to show
on this show, sidetrack.
Yeah, I want to show my shirt.
Oh, this is such a great shirt.
Yeah,
you guys,
awesome,
stand up a little bit because I don't know.
Awesome Christmas
Facebook
gift that I got. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's very nice. I wish I had one.
So I got a shirt with a logo of Vinousreverie. So a pretty cool shirt. So and if you guys want to order,
I don't have any more.
Because if you want,
I'll take it though.
Hey, if you want to look like $1 million, you got to pay $1 million. So
yeah. Okay. But hopefully you don't have to pay that much to get good wine. So
no. Okay. So let's do our list. So we have a top 10 list, but there are 2 wines that did not make the list, but we want to make an honorable mention.
Yeah. No, I like them so much.
Yeah.
I was disappointed. I don't even know that it's not like they didn't make the cut. I think I would literally have to retaste all of our top 10 and say, okay, these weren't good enough. So I really like David and Nadia. This was a great wine, and it's from South Africa.
Yes, Grenache.
Grenache, yeah. It was a spectacular wine. Tasted incredible. So I loved this one so much. It was like, we have to talk about it, even though it didn't make... Oh, wrong way.
Yes.
Let me try to... And then the other one is Ebner. And this is from Germany, or Austria, sorry.
Austria, yes.
My bad.
Yes.
Yeah,
so
excellent.
Veltliner.
Yes, excellent wine. It was really delicious. So I really like these 2. So not officially on the top 10, but Maybe they should have been.
And it's funny enough because they both got spectacular scores from Jensen's.
Oh yeah, like which one got 18?
This one, the Grenache, got 18
The
points.
Grenache got
Yes.
18 points. It's a very high score. So
Yes,
I loved
it was a great wine, but it's funny. Actually, a wine that got lesser score from Jensen's made our top 10 list, and that one did not. So
Ooh.
just to see that we're not, we don't always go 100% by what she likes. We kind of make our opinions for ourselves, but she's definitely a great guide.
Yeah, no, definitely. Okay.
So,
What's
did you
next?
want to, we're drinking today Evesham Wood
Yes.
Cuvée.
Yeah,
So-
this is a select Cuvée Pinot Noir from Willamette Valley, Oregon.
Yes.
So again, Washington, Oregon, making some great wines. This is a really good Pinot Noir. What can I say about the winery? They're biodynamic.
Yes.
They're dry farming. They're really into kind of sustainable farming practices, which I love. And also, didn't our friend Andrew?
Andrew Miramontes, he was here a couple of weeks ago discussing Albert Mann's wines.
Right, and he worked with them.
He worked with them,
Yeah.
yes. And
Cool.
they were talking about Albert Mann Gewürztraminer, which was another spectacular Grand Cru wine that did not make our list. So some big time wines did not make our list.
Okay.
A 95-point wine from Wine Enthusiast.
Yeah, that's crazy. And this wine is
Yes.
great.
Yes.
It's a delicious Pinot. It's got all the right long and tasting notes. Very nice light fruit. Very tart, lovely. And it's in that sweet spot for Pinot Noir, which is always hard to find really good Pinot Noir for the
Yeah.
right price point. $22.99 is a great Pinot Noir price point. So I
Yes.
like this one a lot. And this is what we're drinking tonight.
Yes, and there's a little backstory. So
Oh, yeah?
they have Evesham Wood 2018 Willamette Valley Pinot Noir got 92 points. It actually was one of the highest scoring domestic Pinots in a Wine Enthusiast list. And we had everybody who's been drinking it was loving it.
Yeah.
I think just about everybody came back for seconds. So when I tried to reorder more, I was told that they were sold out of it, and they came out with this select cuvee. So what's interesting about this wine is that it was initially made from higher end fruit, specifically for restaurants.
Okay.
Yeah, but now obviously that business is not buying right now. So the distributor decided to recycle kind of that higher end fruit into his entry level cuvee. So this is actually like a delicious Pinot that typically retails at a much higher price point. So
So this is the bargain to be had then.
Yeah.
So they have a lower level wine that got 92 points. This is their higher level fruit in here. It was originally made for like high end restaurants
Yes.
basically. Okay, so this
Yes.
is okay. That's a good side story. I
yes,
didn't know that one.
yes, it's fun.
Cool. All right. Well, that was that's a good one.
Yeah.
We still have some left, so I would suggest this is the one for if you're looking for good Pinots, which are of course the ultimate foodies wine.
Yes. And then let me kind of go a little bit onto Wine Enthusiast top 100 list.
Okay.
So they have their kind of top 100. They break it down into three categories. They have best buys. That's basically all the wines that should retail below $15. And they basically say like, hey, if you want some really good wines and you're not really gonna want to spend premium dollars for that, here's our top 100 list. So that's a list that typically involves wines that get 88, 89, 90 points. That's their kind of best buy top 100 list.
Right.
So it's a fun list to have. In fact, we have Louis Jadot of Beaujolais 2018. It was number 3 on their Best Buy top
And
100.
we have that wine.
We have that
Okay,
wine in
that's
stock.
a good
Yes,
one.
yeah. So it's delicious wine. For entry level Beaujolais, it's a great wine. We sell it for $14. So
Okay.
yeah. The other thing they do is they do cellar selections. That's the concept where they're basically saying, all right, these are wines that are beautiful, but you have to put them in the cellar because they're going to be drinking great, 5, 6, 7 years down the
So
line.
they're probably more expensive as well.
Frequently, not always.
Okay.
Yeah. And then actually, I wrote down what they have for their top 100 list. They basically say that it's list built to please palates and budgets. So conceptually, if you look at that list, it's all over the place. They have some high-end wines, and then they have some cheaper wines that got high points. You can find maybe a $25 wine that got 93 points, or you'll find 97-point wine that got that costs $90 and above. So it's like a variation, and then they toss in some lesser known grapes from lesser known regions just to toss it in. So that's kind of yeah. we'll talk about it more from the Wine Spectator. They do something similar conceptually, but we'll get to that. So let's go back to our top 10 list.
Okay. So we just did honorable mentions. So next up, I think we have Sky, right?
Well, what we decided, we had Man of War.
Right.
Syrah
I love that wine.
Yes.
I gifted it to my boss. I loved it so much. Yeah.
From New Zealand. Syrah, only 1% of the vineyards are dedicated to Syrah in New Zealand. So it's very...
and it's a
very
beautiful
limited.
property, actually. So I remember that part as well.
And it was a cool story. So we sold out of that wine. So we don't have a picture to show you. Number 9 on our list was Sky Zinfandel from Mount Veeder.
Napa Valley, right?
Yeah, Napa Valley. This is the only domestic wine on our list. I thought this was the best wine we tasted. We tasted maybe 6 or 7 domestic wines.
Really good.
I thought it was a spectacular Zinfandel. So we retail it. We still have a stock of it, and it goes for like $38, I think, in the shop. And then number 8 wine is another wine we sold out. It was actually one of the very first wines we tasted from Fidela de Cudos. It's Mencia from northwest Spain, Ribera Sacra, the little region. And I think Mencia was one of the revelations that we had this year. I've had 3 or 4 Mencias in the store, and it's just a beautiful wine. It typically retails in the range from like $18 to $25. To me, it reminds me a lot about Cabernet Franc. It has like this bright acidity and like bright red fruit. It's beautiful wine, especially if it's made in stainless steel or oak, and it lets the fruit shine. So we tasted 2 Mencias on the show. I thought that Fidela de Cuda was the better of the 2, and both of them were really nice. So that was number 8 wine on our list.
Okay.
All right. So now let's take a little break and do a little sidetrack to Jensen Robinson's top list. So she also does like a little breakdown. And she breaks it down into 4 categories. She does fizz, sparkling wine.
Yes.
Whites category, reds category, and she's the only one who dedicates to dessert wines, which I think is a great thing, because just about nobody, maybe one of the lists might have 1 or 2 dessert wines, and I think that's how people get indoctrinated for not drinking certain wines, is because they follow a lot of these
main critics. They're really influencing the marketplace. So I appreciate that she elevates dessert wine to being a serious subject.
Absolutely. So unlike everybody else, she's got she's showing great Greek wines, great wines from Chile, great wines from South Africa, like you were saying, David and Nadia. Spectacular producers that I don't think no domestic producer actually rated that wine. A wine that she gave 18 points to. Portugal. She's showing all the great dry wines that are made in Portugal. So she's showcasing how beautiful the whole wine world is, which I don't think the other lists do.
Right.
That's why we like her list. I think that's the one I always look forward to the most.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool, and I think in a sense our list reflects philosophically her list. We don't have the same wines that she had on the list. I think philosophically in our store kind of try to represent show that wines are made all over the world, and that not only certain areas should be kind of represented.
Right, because I mean all the domestic wine critics, they kind of focus domestically, right?
Yeah, that's another thing. It's a great point you brought up, and I noticed it too. There's almost kind of nationalistic lean. If you follow like critics from New Zealand or Australia, you notice that they kind of give higher ratings to their domestic wines versus like American critics. And the same thing, like American critics give higher ratings to domestic wines plus the classic regions, like the Bordeaux's, the Brunellos, like Piedmont, Tuscany.
Wines that don't really need PR, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's a great way of putting it. Yeah. Great list. She has on her website. I would tell everybody go to jessrobbins.com and check out her list, and you'll see that frequently a lot of the wines that she recommends, we have them, and they're spectacular wines. So
I think it's a good way to explore is looking at her lists and ours.
Yes. Sicilian wines, another thing. All right, well, let's jump back to our list. Let's go. So we have number 7.
What is it?
So we have, so number 7, we have.
Zyreisen?
Yes, Zyreisen. Yes,
Zyreisen.
German Pinot Noir.
Yes, and I think my friend Kat loves this wine.
Yes.
She does. Yeah, shout out.
Our second show, we tasted this wine with Kevin Wenk, who's the distributor of this wine. Zyreisen, the producer, is one of the best Pinot Noir producers in the Baden region of Germany, which specializes in Pinot Noir.
Yes.
A lot of the other, obviously more famous regions like the Rheingau or the Moselle specialize in the Riesling grape. But Zyreisen specializes in Pinot. It's a grape that domestically people are still. I talked to a lot of people, and they don't even know that Germany produces Pinot, even though they've been producing Pinot for 1,100 years.
Excellent Pinot, I'll add.
Spectacular Pinot.
Yeah, really good. Like if you call yourself a Pinot lover, you've got to try
yes,
German
it's
Pinot.
on the light side of the spectrum. Cool climate,
Right.
tart like red fruits, earthy. Just amazing wine. It really is. So amazing producer. And it's one of those wines that we're once again one of the very few stores to have this wine.
Yeah.
Yes, cool. Yeah. And I was introduced to this wine through Jansen's,
Okay.
So
Cool.
and it's funny when I was putting my list together of all the wines that I want to have in the store, Zyreisen was the very hot producer, and nobody had it, and Kevin just showed up to my store one day to show his catalog, and I was like, no way that he has this producer.
Was it literally on the top of your list?
It was literally, when I was listing all the producers from all different regions, for some reason I started from Baden region in Germany. It was like, and Zyreisen was the very first one, So, all right, so that was number, all right, so number 6 was one of your favorites.
Yes.
It was the sparkling Riesling.
We don't have it.
We sold out of that one too. But
I loved it.
Yes.
Yeah, sparkling Riesling, we had it on my birthday.
Yes.
Just really great. First of all, it's Riesling and sparkling, just delicious. Delicious wine.
And last week we had I thought it was spectacular champagne from a producer that got 18 points from Jensen, so a spectacular score, and it didn't make our list. Yeah. And we also had a great Limoux sparkling wine, and we had a great Franciacorta. So this is the only wine that made the list, is the sparkling Riesling.
Yeah, I mean, though we had that champagne last week, it was great, but the sparkling Riesling I couldn't forget.
Yeah.
I remember the taste profile so vividly. It was so memorable and delicious. So I think it made the list.
And guys, if somebody was twisting my arm, I would say Riesling is my favorite grape.
Yeah.
And we've tasted 2 or 3 Rieslings on the show, and the sparkling Riesling, funny enough, is the only one that made our top 10 list.
It was hard though.
Yeah, and the ones we tasted were pretty spectacular too.
Cool.
So that was number
5.
That was number 6.
Okay.
Number 5 was Suertes de Marqués.
Did we have that one?
Yes, we do.
This one?
Yes.
Okay.
From Canary Islands.
Oh yes, how could I have forgotten? Okay, so speaking of memorable, this was another wine when we tasted it. I was like, you will never forget tasting this wine. This was delicious.
Delicious.
From the Canary Islands.
Yes.
So what was really memorable was that it was volcanic soil, and it tasted like no other wine I've had before. Just very complex flavor profile, very tart. And it's an indigenous grape blend, right?
Negro, yes.
Yes. So really good wine. I mean, I think that if you're going to be a little wine explorer, you should definitely try this one.
Yes.
Yeah, I loved it.
And I think that was the number one thing we learned this year, right? That volcanic soils make spectacular wines.
Right.
So, Sky Zinfandel was volcanic soils.
Yeah.
Baixo Etna Rosas is probably the most famous region that's on Mount Etna that makes volcanic soil wines. Mm-hmm. And this is not the last volcanic soil wine on our list.
We've got more?
We've got more.
Okay.
So this one was spectacular. All right, so let's maybe take a little pause and go back to Wine Spectator's Top 100
All right,
list.
well, I'll pour myself some more of this Evesham wood while you do that.
Yeah. What's your thoughts on it before I kind of continue with my
your thoughts? My thoughts?
Diatribe.
You've got several diatribes going. I don't know. It smells really good, like floral, wild blackberry.
Yes.
Really good. I'm really winging it. I didn't write down any tasting notes.
It got a lot of minerality, even though there's some fruit. some tart fruit. I really like it. Really easygoing wine, beautiful to drink.
Long, kind of alkaline fruit finish.
Alkaline, yes,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
All right, so Wine Spectator maybe is the most famous top 100 list, and I think they're the last to release it. I think they just released it like maybe like a week ago. I mean, next to us. I mean, we're the last, you know, but they're of the major publications. They're the last ones. So they're like a combination of wine enthusiast list. I think they kind of do their top classic, like high-end producers on the top of the list, like the 98, 7-point wines, like make up their top 10. Then the bottom 10, they make all these like weird indigenous like producers, from the regions like at 90 points, got $25, something like that. And then in between is like a combination of everything of 90-point wines at $23. From they try to cover every little region of the world. I don't love their list.
No?
No, I don't love their list.
It seems like they're trying to hit everything, basically. Universal palate, people who are into eccentric types of grapes, like they're trying to hit every type of wine lover.
Well, I'll give you some concrete examples where I kind of don't really agree with like kind of what they're doing, it's like I said. Sometimes I think they put like some of these like like maybe grapes like Blanc Frankish or some like indigenous grapes from small regions. They get like, oh, this is 90 points. It costs $25. If it's 90 points, it shouldn't really be on the list. But they kind of throw it a bone and like, oh, we'll just put you on to give you some like kind of. Variety or some publicity.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you don't think those wines are good enough to make the list?
Well, I potentially actually disagree with them. I would give a different opinion on a lot of the wines. I think frequently they disrespect certain wines, and we'll talk about some of our top 4 wines when we get to that.
Okay.
There's an example. So there's a spectacular Chateau de Pape, Chateau Beaucastel. Probably one of the top 3. Chateau Reyes, Clos de Papes, and Chateau Beaucastel are considered the top 3 Chateau de Papes. So on this year's, they gave it like 96 points, and they listed like number 57. I went back to last year's list, and they gave it like 96 points, and it was like in their top 10. And I went to the previous years, and it was listed again. I forget what number. So they listed it 3 years in a row. Why are you listing a wine that like either everybody knows
it's the same vintage?
No, different vintages.
Okay.
But the same producer.
Okay.
Like, why are you listing Chateau Beaucastel? Like, people like me know that they're spectacular.
He doesn't need it, right?
He doesn't need
Everybody
it.
knows.
Yeah. So well, why is it on 3 years in a row? It's to me it's being lazy, and that's not the only one. Mayacamas, another great cab, that was several years in a row. Aubert, like a super expensive Pinot Noir from domestic Pinot Noir. It was also 2 years in a row. Like I don't get that. Like to me, it's the anti-Jensis Robinson list. When she's trying to introduce you to the greatness of the wine world, here you're kind of their list is indoctrinating the classic regions, and then he's saying, oh, only these regions make great wines. You shouldn't really pay attention to the other regions.
And that's different from James Suckling, though, because James Suckling also kind of has this, okay, these are the top wines. I don't care how much they cost. These are my top wines.
Well, James Suckling used to work for Wine Spectator.
Oh,
so
okay.
I think James Suckling...
He was indoctrinated.
Yeah. So
okay. So a different approach then.
Yeah, and like I said, and they're like I mentioned, they're the most popular magazine, and indoctrinated. I use it in a negative sense. I think they maintain that they're kind of the gatekeepers, and they're saying like, oh, only these are great wines. You shouldn't even waste your time on these lesser wines. Yeah, we'll give them a little publicity on number 99 on our list, but they're not really worthy of your taste buds. And I disagree with that. Like I said, it's anti-Jensis Robinson list, and I'll take Jensis Robinson. Every day of the week and twice on Sundays, they say.
Can we get your autograph? Is she watching?
She should be.
Yeah,
all the promotion that we're giving her, yeah.
Okay, so what else we got on our list?
All right, so let's get back to our list. Number 4 from Rafael Palacios, the Godeo.
Which one is it? Oh my gosh, I lost track.
Right.
This one?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm not a very good fan of white. All right.
Yes, or as Genesis calls it, the Pouilly Monarché of Spanish wines.
I don't know what that means.
Pouilly Monarché, it's a famous white Burgundy.
Oh, yes,
vineyards,
I
yeah.
remember now yep.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a very high praise.
Yes, yes. I'll give kudos that Wine Spectator did have a Godeo, not from Rafael Palacios, who's
Okay.
considered the best Godeo winemaker in the region, but they did have a Godeo on their list.
Okay, so some respect then for them.
Yeah,
Okay.
and it's a spectacular grape.
Great.
More and more critics are thinking that Godeo might be the best grape in Spain.
Mm-hmm.
And Rafael Palacios is the master of the grape. So we loved it, and we want to showcase that wine. All right, number 3, I think, was the red revelation of the year for me.
Which one?
The red label one.
Oh, that one?
It's Arpe Pace Nebbiolo from Valtellina in the Lombardy
I do
region.
remember this wine. You were telling me.
Yes, it's Alpine. They call it Alpine Nebbiolo. So it's Nebbiolo done in Pinot S style versus the Barolo Barbaresco high tannin Nebbiolo. This was an amazing wine. Amazing.
Okay, and
this
Italian.
is Italian. Nebbiolo is the grape. Valtellina is the region. So it's in Lombardy region, whereas Barolo and Barbaresco is on Piedmont. This is actually in the mountains of Lombardy region. So it's more northernly.
And this was the, I think, UNESCO site, right?
Yes.
Yeah, this is the property is on a location which is like a world, I forget, I'm terrible at remembering, but it's like a special site. This is where like they have to have specialized stonemasons to preserve the high slopes that are there. Because the vineyards are on, you can kind of see the bottle. It reminded me.
Right. Yes,
so the artwork reminded me. So see those terraces? The vineyards are so high up that the whole area is terraced by like the special stone structures, and there are very few people who know how to maintain those stone structures. So that's why it's a certified kind of like preserved site. But I remember that now that I really like this wine, and it had a great story too.
Yes, a spectacular wine.
Yeah.
No, that was a big revelation. Yeah,
that was a really good wine.
Yeah, this is the first Valtellina I had, and it was spectacular. It really was.
Yeah, so I definitely recommend this one if you're still looking for something for New Year's. I personally love this wine.
Just this week I got the new batch of it because I sold out of the last one.
Oh, you sold out of the last batch?
It's $40, but
it was worth it. Yeah,
it's worth it. Yes.
Yeah, I didn't say, oh no, no. I was like, yeah, this is great. Cool.
All right, so number 2 wine on our list. I know we were raving it like as if that was number 1 wine on the list. Sal de Terra.
Yes. Okay.
Albarino, Northwest Spain. Man, Northwest Spain is a hit. We have like 3 wines from Northwest Spain on the list.
I could not forget this wine. So again, like the Canary Islands wine, when I had this wine, I remember it. Like months and months later, I remember what this wine tasted like. It was delicious.
Yes.
And it was this Sal de Terra.
So much salinity. It's the best Albarino I've ever tasted.
Oceanic wine, just amazing.
Yeah, it's made like they pick grapes from 2 specific vineyards, and they combine them together. So they vinify them differently, but then they combine them together. It's so much salinity. There's so much length on the finish of this wine. Great citrus backbone. A spectacular wine. I introduced somebody 2 weeks ago. They've came back 3 or 4 times for this wine, and it's not a cheap wine too. No. It's a $40 Albarino, but it's spectacular.
This is a great gift wine. I think if you have somebody who loves white wine, this is the one to gift them. Yeah.
And Justice gave it only 17 points. So
only 17.
So just to say that we're not on the bandwagon. The newer vintage, the 2019. So this is 2018. It got 16 points. So there's a variation in vintages. So just because you make a great wine in one vintage doesn't mean the conditions.
There's all sorts of things, right? Weather. I mean, you never know what's going on with the grapes.
This is the best Albarino I've ever tasted. And we've been on a roll with Albarinos, actually.
Yeah.
I've been loving everything I've been bringing in. That's pretty spectacular. We'll talk about it a little bit after this. So I think ready for number 1 wine?
Yes.
Big revelation. Yes.
Yes. Well, I mean, I think that everybody should be on this revelation or bandwagon on this one.
Algiros Assyrtiko from Santorini.
Yep.
Our number 1 wine of the year.
Santorini Islands. Yeah, Greek wine.
Volcanic soils.
Yes.
So this is a wine that if you haven't tried the wine, you kind of miss the train on this one. We used to buy a Citrico 78 years ago below $20. They were spectacular. Now those wines hit $40 price point.
So
Yeah.
I think basically you should be stocking up on these excellent Assyrticos and Greek
Godeas
wines
is-
because they're going to go up in price point.
Godea is going up in price point.
Right.
It's going up. I'm seeing it already. We're selling this one for 35, the 2018 vintage. 2019 already hit the $40 mark.
Do we have a couple bottles of these for ourselves?
We,
Okay.
we have a few in the store.
I mean, because literally people, 50, 40 years ago, they would buy, wines, and those wines are now worth hundreds and hundreds of dollars. And I think this is next, basically.
I have some customers who were telling me, like in the 70s, they were used to buy first growth Bordeaux for tens of dollars.
Right.
Like tens of dollars. It's like funny listening to that. Like right now, those wines cost from $800 to $1,000 depending on the vintage.
Right.
And frequently, they get like 17 points from Jensen's in a good vintage.
Right.
Just to give you a perspective, how a wine that gets 100 points gets like 17 points, 1,000 plus dollars gets 17 points from Jensen's.
Yeah, well, dollars, points, not necessarily equated. But this is a great wine. Did she rate this wine?
Julia Hardin from Jensen's Robinson gave this 17.5 points.
Yeah.
A great score, a great wine. I think even Jensen's herself, none of the wine lists that I saw had any Assyrticos on the list.
Yeah.
And this is a noble grape, and I think we have to talk about it. The ability of
noble
some
grapes?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, again, I think this is, I couldn't forget this wine once I had it. I think that if you were going to speculate in wine and invest in it, this would be my thought, is Assyrtiko is way to go.
It's funny because speculation, because Jess mentioned David and Nadia as a wine that people
really?
are going to be speculating in,
Okay.
that it should be in their wines because they consistently make such a.
They make really great wine, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so and cheekily, is that how the British say it? Cheeky?
What'd you call me?
She frequently mentions when she writes about Godea or she writes about Assyrtiko, she says noble grape.
Yes.
And I think she mentions the noble grape because they're technically not noble grapes. As far as I understand, there's 9 noble grapes, and I think Ani have written them down.
Yes.
So let's go over the 9 white noble grapes, and then decide which one we're going to kick out and put in Godeo, Assyrtiko, and Albarino as the noble grapes.
Okay, so...
And actually, it's not. I don't even think it's that hard, honestly.
Well, Pinot Grigio.
Okay, that's one.
Riesling.
The best grape in the world. That's
Don't
staying on
touch
the
it,
list.
yeah.
That's staying on the list.
Sauvignon Blanc.
Yes.
Chenin Blanc.
Yes.
Moscato.
Yes.
Gewürztraminer.
Yeah.
Semillon.
Yes.
Chardonnay. And Viognier.
Yeah.
So Chardonnay, right?
Well, you know what? As much as I would love to do some of the over buttered versions that California has,
there are some good
Yes.
Chardonnays.
In
yeah.
fact, we had tasted a great one from Morning Peninsula in Australia, from Kooyong.
Yeah,
I actually had that in my top 15 list. You know, he didn't make the top 10, but I thought it was spectacular. So,
Okay, well, what about Pinot Grigio? Can that one go?
you know, Pinot Grigio.
There's well, I don't want to knock it. I just can't remember having a good Pinot Grigio.
I haven't had a Pinot Grigio on the level of Assyrtikos, and consistently good Assyrtikos. I honestly haven't. That's how great I think Assyrtiko is.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a spectacular grape.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's really good.
Yeah. So I have no problem with Pinot Grigio.
We're so mean. All the Pinot Grigio lovers are going to come
Yeah.
out. No, how could you?
And Godea is going that direction too. I mean, I haven't had as many Godeas, but the ones I've had are pretty great. And Rafael Palacios Godeas, I mean, obviously not everybody's a master like he is, but his Godeas are spectacular. You know, I mean, Semillon makes nice grapes. You know, Viognier, man, Viognier.
It's hard.
Condru, maybe they make great grapes.
I've had good Viognier. Yeah.
You know, see, so wine, I think that when you first get into wine, like we did, Viognier, Gewürztraminer, they're very seductive because their aromas are so beautiful, like, you know, white flowers, like
Right.
peach,
Yeah.
lychees, and stuff like that. But both of them, when they don't have enough acidity, they just become kind of, you know, flabby, like you
Right,
they
and I
don't work
think
out as much.
that especially domestically, we've had Viogniers that are very fruited, and
Yeah.
they tend to be flabby because there's no acid structure. It's just too
Yeah,
sweet from
yeah.
the warm weather.
And you know, that's funny. I would say something about Assyrticos. So we're talking about Assyrticos from Santorini. I've noticed in the last year that Greece is jumping on the Assyrtiko bandwagon themselves, and they're starting to make Assyrticos from the mainland.
Not so much.
I've tasted some that are pretty good. They're not the same. It's not the same as the Santorini Assyrtiko. It's
So
not
the
volcanic.
Santorini Assyrtiko, it's on volcanic soil, right? So
Yeah,
let's
and
just
it's
take
on
us
the
back.
island.
Yeah, it's very different.
Covered by water in a tiny like bush vines. So it's maybe the same grade, but it's completely different
The
than
terroir is different.
Yeah. So I want to mention that it's specifically Santorini Assyrtiko.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And then, you know, Albarino, man, we have some really good ones. And Salvatierra,
Yeah, it was really
I
good.
mean, you know, Moscato makes some spectacular
I like
dessert
good
wines.
Moscato dessert
wines, yeah. Dry wines, I don't know. Some of these Albarinos are now becoming pretty special.
Okay.
So you know, that's our little stab of redefining the
Noble grapes?
The noble grapes, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you know, Chenin Blanc still makes great grapes. Not Riesling. Is the closest, I think, to Riesling when it's done well. Chenin Blanc, I think, maybe the closest grape to how spectacular and versatile it is next to Riesling. There's just not as many examples of it in the wine world. You know, Loire Valley has a few producers. South Africa, including David Anadio, makes some really nice Chenin Blanc blends. But overall, Riesling, you know, there's in the Moselle and the Alsace, there's some spectacular producers that make Rieslings. But you know, we diverge.
We diverge or digress.
Digress.
We don't even know what we're doing anymore.
Yes. So I mean, this was I think a fun list and a fun discussion and spectacular wines that we tasted. I mean, really spectacular. And like I said, there was probably of the 60, I think 30 I loved. Others I really liked. One I did not like.
Let's not talk about that.
Yeah, one I didn't
but-
like, and a few of them were average.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think there were 20 to 25. Like I'm saying, like, you know, spectacular champagne. Grand Cru Gewürztraminer did not make the list. You know, several 18 pointers from Jensen did not make a list. We've tasted some spectacular ones.
it was really hard to come up with this list. So.
We tasted two Chateauneuf de Pops that were not even close to being in the top 25.
They were good.
A white, yes,
Yeah.
a white and a red Chateauneuf de Pop. You know,
I love white Chateauneuf de Pop. Yeah.
The most famous wine in Southeast France didn't even make my top 25. That's how I thought interesting our list was. And it's from regions like, you know, Chinon in Loire Valley. We had a great Gamay from Oregon.
Yes, I remember that. It was really good.
Yeah. No, it's fun wines. And outside of, you know, Champagne, Chateauneuf de Pops, most of the wines were 35 and below. I mean, we're talking about like really good wines. And like I said, most of these wines did not make any of the other lists. So, you know, kind of.
Yeah. No, it was fun. I mean, I think it's easy to be passionate about wine when you actually love the wines and you think that they're really interesting and hard to find and, you know, not talked about anywhere else.
Well, just a funny anecdote that I mentioned. So a couple of weeks ago, a winemaker from Oregon stopped by our shop. So a couple of things he said. I just want to promote you on one of the things. He said, okay, I went to some of the other competitors in the region, in the area. Your shop is much more fun. That's what he told me. Right? So that's the first thing.
Okay.
And I was like, I know.
Yeah, I know. Thanks for stopping by.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Go on. Thank you. Go on. Yeah. And the second thing, he's like, so this is a winemaker from Oregon. He's like, you know what? I've heard about this grape Assyrtiko. And I was like, it's spectacular grape. You're missing the train of that one. There's no more cheap examples of it.
Right.
They're great examples of it, but there's no wine that you could be, hey, I want to try the $20 Assyrtiko. No,
they're not going to be that great, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, I'm not even sure if there's even examples of Santorini Assyrtiko in the marketplace that you could sell for $20. Yeah. So just like a funny anecdote.
Okay, so endorsement, yeah.
Yeah, endorsement, and you know, just to showcase how great Assyrtiko was.
All right, cool. Well, this was a fun show. I love rambling about wines that we personally loved.
Yes.
So thanks for joining us. We are Vinousreverie Wine Merchant out here in Walnut Creek, California, the best wine shop in the world, possibly. Definitely in the East Bay. So check us out. Shop online. If you're looking for wines for your New Year's, we just went through our top 10 list, so some spectacular finds there.
And by the way, the winemakers rave about us.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, we get a lot of sommeliers who stop by the shop, and they're like, oh, I need to shop here.
Yeah. So. One story, it's funny. I have winemakers actually call me and stuff like that, and they're like, I never even heard of that grape. Like, and you're the only one who has that. Semillon from Argentina. I got a winemaker who said, like, I didn't even know Argentina makes Semillon. I was looking for it, and you popped up. Frequently stories like that, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us. We will see you guys next Friday.
Yeah. More fun wines.
All right. Take care. Stay safe. Bye.
Happy holidays, guys.
Yep.
Bye.
Merry Christmas.